Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hi, Kim. I'm good. How are you?
It's good. We were just chatting before the show, and it's actually really funny because Mike was on the show a long time ago when I first started in my garage. Mm-hmm. You were one of the, I call him one of the daring ones that
One of
came.
the pioneers.
The pioneers of the Red Booth Show. And so much has been happening since then. You've got tons of stuff going on, a new movie, and yeah.
Lots happened since then.
I know.
For both of us.
I know.
We're in 45 million households now. That's well done to you.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you very much.
So I have a movie that just came out, and it's called Train to Zakopané. It's based on a play that I did that ran for a year in Santa Monica.
Nice.
And it's a true story about the author's dad, and it happened in 1928 in Poland.
Now, this is a pretty heavy story, actually. I mean, it's a romance, but it's about
it's not like a barrel of laughs.
Right. it's not like a summer feel good.
No, it's definitely falls into the sort of tragic love story category. So the actual story goes like this. So his father, 1928, so right after the First World War, ramping up into the Second World War, and he was on a train. I think he was going to Warsaw, and it was like right after a holiday, so the train was packed, and he didn't have a seat in a compartment, and he was randomly invited into a compartment because they had an extra seat. And so he went in, and in that compartment there was a priest, another lady, and a nurse. And so he started this flirtation with this nurse, and they were attracted to each other. And then the climate in Poland at that time was very heavily anti-Semitic, and he was Jewish, but he was a businessman, so it's not like he was dressed in traditional garb or anything. He was just dressed as a businessman. And they didn't notice or guess that he was Jewish. So they started in on all of this anti-Semitic rhetoric, and he decided to not tell them, but rather to defend the position pretending to be a Gentile. Mm. And then when the nurse really started in on it and got really nasty about it, he decided to seduce her and then tell her. So he had kind of nefarious intentions. But as it turns out, they got off the train. They went on this lovely weekend getaway in the ski resort in a town called Zakopané. And then he accidentally fell in love with this girl.
How could she be
so he was having trouble kind of putting this whole thing together of like, how can she be this vicious bigot but also be this really lovely, sweet person? And then they ended up having this, lovely romantic getaway, and then he was sort of very conflicted about it. But then, come to find out, I'm just going to spoiler alert because this is the big twist at the end. Turns out she was the nurse that turned his mother away from a hospital, and his mother died because of it.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
And the reason that
you need to walk away right now.
So now it was just like, piling emotional conflict upon emotional conflict. And so that was the story, and he ended up leaving her at the train station and then never saw her again. But it always kind of nagged at him throughout the years, and she gave him a ring that he kept throughout all the years. And then Henry, the writer-director, got his father to tell him the story, and he recorded it. And then he eventually turned it into this play, and then the play ran for a year, and then we made a film out of it. So,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all based on a true story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting about that is that this woman obviously was affected by all of the propaganda against Jews at the time.
Sure, yeah.
Like so many people were.
Well, it was commonplace, and especially in Poland, it was very heavily that way, where it just sort of became a part of the culture and the way that they thought, which is horrible and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it was.
Yeah, but it's an interesting commentary on how possible that is really in any time and in any place.
It's oddly appropriate for today's environment.
I think so, definitely.
So I love stories like that because, lest we forget, there's horrible things that have happened in the past.
Not too distant past.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. It's important to remind everybody.
Right.
Because, we're doomed to repeat it, right? If we don't do that.
Yeah.
But the idea of this story being told is really good too, because it just shows we're actually all pretty much good people, and some people can be led astray or be convinced of something like that, like to hate another group.
Exactly.
Even though they're still actually a good person. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to resolve this issue with her in real life, obviously.
Well, we don't know what happened to her because he never saw her after that. The girl Tanna who played that role had such a hard time with it because playing such a hateful, but she's not.
Yeah.
Do we need to take a break?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, we can keep talking about it.
Okay, good. So we have to take a break. We'll be right back with Mike Falkow on The Red Booth Show. Well, thanks for watching my interview with Mike Falkow so far. Click on this link to watch the rest of our interview.